might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break.
Hey folks, the Nogales High School is presenting this podcast program. Welcome and enjoy.
With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without.
Bienvenidos a este podcast. En esta ocasión vamos a estar trabajando sobre qué es lo más importante para los estudiantes que van llegando a high school a su 9º grado. En esta ocasión nos acompaña Sofía Jimeno. Bienvenida, Sofía. Nos acompaña también Gabriel Saucedo. Bienvenido. En Balú Zuma, welcome to our podcast. También nos está acompañando en esta tarde Zulema Fragoso, consejera de 10º grado. Y un servidor, Víctor Gómez, también acompañándolos aquí. Y empezamos pues con los detalles de esta plática. Y la primera pregunta es, ¿qué es lo que tiene que tomar en cuenta el estudiante que va entrando a high school como para 9º grado? ¿Qué sugerencia le dan? ¿Qué consejo le dan? Y sobre todo, ¿qué tiene que tomar en cuenta? Adelante, ¿quién empieza?
Let me translate the question first. So for the first question we're going to have is, what advice or what suggestions do you have for any incoming 9th grader? So whoever wants to start, to say your name first.
So my name is Sofía Jimeno, and the main suggestion I have is to not be afraid to ask questions. The first week, I remember I was here at least once a day asking something either at the office or to my counselor, because even though the school was very helpful in giving us explaining everything, such as what's AP, what's honors, I remember there were still some gaps that I needed to fill, and I remember that being here at the office helped me learn a lot and get a lot of new opportunities, such as clubs that they recommended or programs that they recommended as well.
My name is Gabriel Saucedo, and I think my suggestion would probably be to understand a bit how the system works, how the cumulative GPA works. Because, for example, I decided to take German, and I missed out on the extra weight that I would have gotten from an honors class because German was an honors class. And so that affects your rank. And so if I know that prior to, if I really understood the system prior to entering high school, I probably would have picked different classes. But I think just understanding how rank works is just really helpful in, ending up like one of the top parts of your class. Because it's a matter of, even if you do like harder work maybe in another class, if someone else's class has more weight than yours, they will end up at a higher rank. I believe that, and also just knowing a bit of what you want to do, if you want to do sports, which clubs you want to do, and just trying a lot of things, and trying everything you can, and seeing what really sticks, what you really enjoy, is really helpful too, because it just helps you be more well-rounded.
I think that definitely as an incoming freshman that you should attend orientation day the day before. I think it helps a lot because a lot of the seniors explain how it really is in high school. A lot of the counselors have visited the middle schools. They tell you about all the programs that you can do, all the courses that you can take, all the activities, sports. But the seniors in the school on orientation day really explain how high school works and how serious you should really take it. And as Gabriel said, understanding cumulative GPA and rank and all that. And I definitely think procrastination plays a big part in how middle school really doesn't have any credits or anything to really consider. You take classes, sure, but they're really not counted towards anything. But high school, they actually count, and you need a certain amount of credits to graduate. So I would really think that understanding that would be a big part of becoming an incoming freshman.
Muy bien. Lo que más he visto en las clases de estudiantes freshmen es que traen todavía el espíritu de juego, el espíritu de que voy a pasar la clase para el siguiente ciclo escolar, no me tengo que preocupar para nada. Es decir, las calificaciones no importan demasiado. ¿Cómo la ven ustedes?
So what we've seen is that incoming freshmen have a mentality of saying, I'm not worrying, I'm not worried about my grades, grades don't matter. So what can you tell us about the importance of grades?
So from experience, I believe that it makes sense that your mentality is still like one that you feel like everything's all worked out. Because in middle school, in 8th grade, it kind of was because you were about to finish the year and you were gonna pass on to high school. But in high school, the difference is that it's totally not that. I do believe that it's important to enjoy, but in order to, you can enjoy the most out of high school when you know you're prepared and when you know that you're doing what you have to do in order to prepare your future. So I think it's very important to, like Gabriel said, it's important to know how the grades work because you have to like how each grade is worth like differently, right? So if you worry about your grades and you worry to put your maximum effort in each of them, when you are closer to finishing high school or actually finishing high school, you're gonna be enjoying all of the benefits that come from it, that come from your effort right now. And like you did in middle school, you're gonna be able to enjoy that closer to the end of your senior year or even in your adult life. So I believe that it's very important to put in the effort right now and enjoy the benefits once you're older.
So a lot of middle school students think that grades are not as important. They don't worry about it. They say, oh no, it doesn't matter. Like in middle school, you just had to pass. So in high school, the grades do matter. Why do they matter and how are they gonna benefit you?
Well, I think that, I don't think, in some classes they don't completely benefit you as much as just adding to your whole GPA. But I just think that in terms of getting out of that mentality, it's just understanding what high school is really for. And it's really just for preparing yourself for like harder schooling. And that's the main point of high school, I believe, is becoming more well-rounded, see what you like. So I believe if that behavior is understood beforehand, then once you get into high school, you'll understand why you're really there. And I think having fun it's fine. It's good. It's fine to have fun. It's important to actually enjoy yourself. But I think that also it's important to be productive, especially because you want to make sure you succeed in high school so you can continue to succeed. Because if your high school doesn't go well, then you will be dealing with those repercussions for a while. So I believe just understanding what it's for and taking it seriously, but also enjoying yourself is just really important.
I think grades are really important because when you have better grades, especially for me, it motivates me to do better. And the grades do matter from your freshman year because a lot of colleges do look at your 4 years in high school, and better grades mean that you're passionate about what you want to do, and it might open new career paths for you and shows you new ways on how to approach problems in real life. So grades do help a student not only through passing high school but through college and different things that they can do throughout life and how they can succeed.
Tuve la experiencia yo de encontrarme con una estudiante que tenía 2.5 GPA cuando ya era senior y aplicó a la universidad y no recibió respuesta afirmativa. Me comentó, me voy a tener que ir a colegio. Si yo le hubiera puesto mucha atención a mi freshman year, yo creo que sí le hubiera logrado la beca o por lo menos que me hubieran metido en la universidad. Hay situaciones como esa en las que me he dado cuenta que no le ponen atención. Hay estudiantes como, vuelvo otra vez a lo grado, ¿no? Mi mamá me llevaba a tutoría y podía pasar y no había ningún problema y al final me van a ayudar y creen que el apoyo va a estar siempre factible. Ya cuando están cerquita de los estudiantes, cerquita de la graduación, comienzan a tener todos los problemas. Entonces la idea es, ¿qué tanto, Miss Fragoso, nos sirve que los estudiantes le pongan mucha atención a sus promedios, a su GPA en los 3 años que son previos al 12avo? ¿Y qué tanto impacto tiene en su contra el que no logren un GPA favorable de 3.0 hacia arriba o si les va muy abajo el GPA, qué tan malicioso puede ser para ellos ese resultado.
Bueno, let me translate the question first. I'm going to summarize it. Mr. Gomez says that he met someone, a senior, that has a GPA of a 2.5, and that person was telling him that he was having a really hard time, or she was having a really hard time, because she wasn't able to get into university directly. And how, like if she had been focused since 9th grade, she would have had a much easier time or better chances of getting in or getting additional scholarships or whatever if she had focused and been doing well in grades since the beginning. So Mr. Gomez is asking me, like, what do you suggest, like, they can change, or how can they have better input on what the first three years of their high school would be. So mi respuesta es, para poder ayudarle a un estudiante siempre les decimos la importancia de las calificaciones desde que entran a la high school, tanto para graduación, porque necesitan 22 créditos para poder graduarse, pero las universidades no necesariamente se fijan en los 22 créditos, que fue algo que Gabriel mencionaba ahorita. O sea, dice Gabriel, yo tomé alemán, por ejemplo, como electivo, porque tienen, o sea, las universidades se van a fijar solamente en lo que le llaman el Sweet 16 o lo básico, ¿no? Que es el inglés, las matemáticas, las ciencias naturales y las ciencias sociales, los idiomas y arte o educación técnica, ¿no? Entonces, esos son los que se están fijando más las universidades. Son también es un requisito de graduación para poder tener buenas calificaciones en eso, y se basan en el promedio general para poder entrar a la universidad. Por lo general es de 2.5 solamente en esas materias y de 2.5 para arriba. No pueden tener Ds en matemáticas o ciencia juntas, no pueden tener Ds en cualquiera de las demás porque es deficiente eso. Deficiente aquí lo pasan, pero es deficiente para las universidades. Entonces, ¿por qué es importante? Porque tienen que ellos estar enfocados en qué es lo que quieren para un futuro. O sea, quieren irse a la universidad, quieren irse a un colegio comunitario, quieren una escuela técnica. Como le digo, la universidad les pide calificaciones más altas, colegio comunitario no tan altas, pero de todas maneras que puedan sostener su nivel académico, ¿no?
Muchísimas gracias. Me interesa también un poquito acerca de lo que es la disciplina en el estudio. ¿Qué tan enfocados debemos estar en el estudio? ¿Qué tan responsables debemos ser en la entrega de los trabajos de calificaciones? La escuela ya tiene algunas reglas y muchos maestros las ponen para decir, este tiempo tienes para entregar tu trabajo, this is your due date, and please turn it in on time. Si ellos no están entregando el trabajo en tiempo, pues van a tener repercusiones en su bajo promedio. También si están participando en un deporte, no dejar solo no enfocar todo el esfuerzo solo en el deporte. También las clases tienen su importancia y sobre todo les puede perjudicar a ellos. Si acaso en la clase tienen un bajo promedio, tal vez puedan ir para abajo en el deporte. La otra situación que me estaba dando cuenta es que en muchas ocasiones no se preocupan por participar en clubes sociales o deportivos. ¿Qué sugerencia hay sobre eso?
So, what Mr. Gomez is asking, tell us about the importance of due dates, deadlines, for classwork or homework, turning it in, the impact it has on your grade. A lot of people say, oh, like I'll turn it in later, and they don't. So how are you prioritizing this? And I'm going to focus this next question on Gabriel and Jimena. And Sophia, I'm sorry, yes. Is how do you balance sports and academics? And Baloo in clubs and academics. So to make sure that if you do miss class because you have an event for National Honor Society, or you have an event for track and field, or you have an event for tennis. How are you balancing that to make sure that you don't fall behind in your grades?
So for due dates, there's two ways to look at it. The first is like it's gonna have a negative impact on my grade, and the other is to look at it that if I finish it before the due date, I'm gonna have other time to do other things that I like, such as sport or in general free time. So in some sense, I like to do everything first because that way I know everything before the due date, because that way I know that I'm for sure going to have extra time to, I guess, enjoy myself and have fun doing other things that I like, including sports. And to do that, well, I like to write down everything in a planner, or at least make a mental note of I have to get this done and this done and this done before the end of the day, or if it's things that are due before, like not that day but during the week, have a mental note like of all the week. I have to make sure to get this done by Friday or by a certain date, and that way, and before bed every day, I try to make sure, like every day before bed, I guess I recall this mental note and make sure everything for math is done, everything for science is done, and that way I know that everything's good. And for sports, I just joined tennis, and usually for most sports, it's like 2 hours practice, I believe. And it does take up a lot of time. And before, I used to think that it's not possible to manage this and do everything before a due date, and at the same time do other things such as clubs. But actually, once I do look at the mat, I guess you could say, there is time if you make sure to do everything productively and efficiently. And that leads to doing things efficiently. Like when you're doing an assignment, try to do it in a quiet space in your house or even at school, but try not to be distracted, and that way you can finish things efficiently, which will take less time and will give you more time to do sports or club or just free time in general.
I think what's helping me keep everything balanced has been, I don't think it's like fearing due dates or just like really focusing on like due dates, mostly just communicating with the teachers is the most beneficial thing for me, is making sure that I already talked to them about which days I'm going to be missing, why I'm missing, what grades will be affected by what assignments, and just seeing how I work around that. And most of the time, especially if you just have a good relationship with the teacher, they'll help you out, or they will accommodate you in some way, or they'll just give you a bit more information, like, okay, no, it's due like at the end of the day this time, so just try to get it done at whatever time. I believe just communicating is extremely important. I think what's also really helped me, especially because I've done last year I did all 3 seasons of sports, and this year I've only done cross country and track. But I think what's helped me is just utilizing the time you get for tutoring. The time that you get from 2 to 2:45 is extremely useful, because if you know that you're going to be gone, or if you know that you're missing something, just going to other classes or going to the classes you are going to have something missing from, and just talking to the teacher or just getting your work done then and there is super useful to just keeping your grade up and just staying on it, because as soon as it piles up and then like at the wrong time you have no time to actually do it, then it's very difficult.
So coming to due dates, I like to prioritize what takes most of my time up and what is due as soon as possible. So like for example for math, we'll say it's due tomorrow and English is due the day after. I would prioritize math over English, and I would get math done first and then English, because I would have more time. I wouldn't want to cram it all in one night, and that would just burn me out. So I would want to pace myself and then take 5-minute breaks in between to relax and get going again, to be motivated. And so like I'm saying, don't procrastinate. A big problem, especially for me, my freshman year, was I was procrastinating a lot. But it's really hard to pull your grades up when at the end of the year. So I would think that definitely go to tutoring if you're missing for any clubs or sports. A lot of students are here early, and teachers are here early in the morning, so morning tutoring can help, and afternoon tutoring as well. So that can help a lot, especially when you're missing and when you don't understand an assignment and you have to do it. And definitely ask questions and make sure that you know what you're doing before you do an assignment to turn in.
Ok. No sé qué clases tienen ustedes en estos momentos, pero sí, si al caso están en clases de honores o en algún programa especial, ¿qué es lo que se tiene que hacer para lograr pasar a esas clases de honores o esas clases que tienen el lugar más alto aquí en la escuela?
So he says, I don't know what classes you have right now, if they're honors, AP, or IB, or just regular classes, but based on that,
¿Cuál es el paso que dieron? ¿Cómo lo consiguieron? Si es que están ahí. ¿Y qué sugerencia o consejo dan al respecto?
So, being in those classes, what kind of advice would you give students, or what kind of suggestions would you give to students?
So the first suggestion I give is to not be afraid that it says honors in front of it, or that it says AP or even IB. What I realized is that right now I'm taking 2 honors classes and 1 AP, and most of them, all that the teachers are asking is for you to show interest and to want to take action in your education. It's not something out of like anything that's expected. It's, for example, for career exploration, it's literally the same classroom, and one side is honors and the other side is not honors. And the only thing that he expects from us is that we put in the effort. So in some sense, I think that anyone, if they want to do it, they can do honors or AP or even IB. So most of it is just make up your mind and go through with it.
And Sophia's a 9th grader right now.
Yes.
I think the main thing is just understanding that it's oftentimes, as she already said, just showing more interest, or at most that I've seen is a couple more assignments maybe per week, but it isn't too much. And I believe that, for example, in honors English, my experience was that it had different kinds of work. So it didn't have, as literal classes were reading Romeo and Juliet, we were just doing literary analysis. We were doing different things than other classes, but I'm not sure if they're completely necessarily harder. I just think that a lot of these honors classes have people that were more focused on their education, and that made it a lot easier to succeed in those classes because the teacher was already putting in the effort that they knew they would get back from the students. They weren't just trying to get through the day. So I believe that those classes are just based on more on effort. So I think just staying on top of your work, as I already said, staying on top of your work for those classes and communicating with your teacher and seeing what's necessary and needed is the important part.
And Gabriel is a 10th grader.
Yes.
In my experience with AP courses and honors classes, I think that they aren't as difficult as people really make them out to be. It's just the teacher goes into more depth in the topic and explains a little more, which might take a little more time, which the honor part comes in, where you do a little more work and understand why it's significant in that course. And I did AP courses my freshman year, and I didn't really face a problem with it. You do have to study for the test. I mean, it's like any other final, but I think that honors and AP and IB courses do benefit you in the long run, especially in college, where some colleges do accept the AP courses as college credits, and which help you prepare for college level courses like dual enrollment and actual courses when you get to college.
También es muy importante que los estudiantes cuando están aquí, sobre todo como dice Sofía, que no les dé miedo, ¿no? Meterse a este mundo es algo muy suave, algo maravilloso, y sobre todo pues el estar buscando siempre el apoyo de los maestros, de los consejeros y todo ello. ¿Cuál sería en su momento aquello que ustedes aconsejarían a los estudiantes de 9º grado en función de estar ya en las clases, si acaso van experimentando algún retroceso en sus calificaciones, de repente quieren regresar a las clases regulares, ¿no? Si ya están en las clases de honores, regresar a las clases regulares porque se les hace pesado. ¿Cuál sería el consejo que les dieran ustedes ahí?
So if there was a student, I'm gonna shorten it. If there was a student that is taking honors classes and is wanting to like go down to regular classes, what would be the advice you would give them to not do so, or what recommendations would you have? And you can speak in Spanish too.
Ok, a ver, esta la voy a contestar en español. Entonces, lo que yo dijera de esto es que, para empezar, si estás en clase de honores ya, significa que te lo ganaste y que lo puedes hacer. O sea, te comprobaste a ti mismo que puedes estar ahí y que lo puedes hacer. Ahí es donde pienso que es cuestión de decidirte a hacer el trabajo, y a lo mejor si se te hace pesado, lo que yo he notado con las clases de honores y clases más altas, más que nada es que falta de tomar tu tiempo en las cosas y controlar tus horarios y poner tu tiempo para hacer cada tarea y así, ¿no? Y yo pienso que es la clave para las clases de honores, aprender a usar tu tiempo lo más eficiente, hacer tus trabajos lo más eficiente y así, ¿no? Entonces, es lo que yo dijera, que antes de decidir de regresarte a clases normales, le dijera que tratara de ver sus horarios, si puede corregir algo para que tenga más tiempo para estudiar, o simplemente que vea si a lo mejor simplemente le está tardando más tiempo hacer un trabajo, porque a lo mejor tiene distracciones, a lo mejor no está poniendo la misma atención en clase. Y además también dijera que lo intentara. El noveno grado, estoy de acuerdo que no va a salir perfecto, a mí no me ha salido ni cerca de perfecto. Entonces pienso que este es tu año para intentar cosas nuevas. Entonces es tu año para decir, si no tomo honores, voy a tomar honores. Si tomé honores en secundaria, este año va a ser diferente, no es lo mismo. Entonces es tu año de probar cosas nuevas y de tal manera llevarte al límite. Y de ahí ya te puedes ir guiando para los siguientes años, qué te faltó, qué te sobró, y así ya puedes organizarte para tener los mejores años que vienen.
I think if I was trying to discourage somebody from switching from a weighted class to an unweighted class, I just asked them if they were planning on going into what they're planning on going into, if their field required them to go into college, or if it helped them to go to a very nice Ivy League or a ranked college. I think they should just understand that if they want to go into an easier or unweighted class, it will affect them negatively in terms of, as I already said before, that their rank, and also just standing out in general to admission officers is making sure that you stay in the harder and more rigorous classes. For honors classes, I don't believe they're not super different from regular classes. It's just I believe the teachers care a bit more and the students care a bit more. So I believe I don't know why anybody would switch from an honors to a regular class, unless they just not want to put in the effort. But it benefits you a lot more than it asks of you. In terms of AP and IB, if they're really struggling with understanding the material or the content, and they've already got a tutoring, they've already got through all the avenues of seeking help with this class, then maybe what is best for them is just switching out of the extremely hard class into maybe an honors or just a normal class. It could maybe benefit them more, or from an IB to an AP or an AP to an IB. Whatever benefits them more, but they have to understand the repercussions of their action.
So if a student came to me and asked, I would definitely ask them why they want to switch to a normal class from an AP or an honors class. I would ask them because I don't see a big difference between honors and normal. Just a little more effort would do the trick with honors, and if I would definitely try and convince them out of it, because unless they're taking too many AP courses, for example, some of my friends have been taking 6 AP and IB courses, so they really don't have any time for anything else, where you really need a balance between life and, in this case, student life, work. So I definitely think that unless that it's too much work that you're doing, or you have other classes that you need to do before, like have more important classes to do, that would be the only reason I would be convinced that a student should not do an honors course. For example, in my sophomore year, I was going to do AP US History, but I had AP US History for first, and I had a dual enrollment class, trigonometry, and it was only offered during first period. So that was one of the scenarios where I dropped out of APUSH to do college algebra trig. So I try and see what's right for me and what my career path is, because I wouldn't really want to go anywhere near history, and I want to go somewhere more math-based and science-based.
La siguiente pregunta, sobre todo el que estemos buscando una buena vida académica aquí en la escuela, responde mucho a esa importancia de llegar constantemente con los consejeros ante cualquier duda, ante cualquier situación. En ocasiones sentimos que un maestro no nos ayuda mucho, en ocasiones sentimos que la clase está totalmente difícil, en ocasiones estamos buscando algunas otras alternativas aquí en la escuela. ¿Cuál sería para ustedes el consejo hacia los estudiantes que van entrando? Si acaso tienen algunas dudas, aparte de ir al consejero, no sé si también los consejeros pueden proponer, porque en algunas ocasiones hay estudiantes de aquí de la escuela que tienen muy buen conocimiento y pueden apoyar en tutoría a otros compañeros que sean freshmen o situaciones así. Entonces, ¿cuál sería el consejo en ese sentido? Y si ustedes están de acuerdo o qué opinan sobre esos programas de apoyo a esos estudiantes que se sienten totalmente rezagados y que dicen, estoy atorado, no sé cómo avanzar en este sentido.
So sometimes a student may feel like they're kind of stuck. And when that happens, aside from going to a counselor, what other venues, I guess, can you reach out to? Like, if you've already gone to tutoring, if you've already gone to and spoken with a teacher, what other things would you suggest that the student do in order to get that help that they need? So I'm gonna ask Balu to answer this question, because Balu does peer tutoring. So I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. I would talk to a peer counselor, a CRT member, simply because they would relate to it a lot more, especially for underclassmen, as they've recently gone through that experience. And I would also use other websites like Khan Academy and Albert.io. They really do help a lot significantly, because for me, they explain a lot better, especially with the short videos on Khan Academy and the short question and answers.
Do you have any other suggestions, Sofía? Sí,
Sofía.
Okay.
Las sugerencias que yo tengo es muy cercano a lo que dijo Balu. También pienso que es muy importante, además de preguntarle a nuestros consejeras y a nuestros maestros, pienso que es buena idea hablar con estudiantes que son, por ejemplo, yo soy freshman ahorita, entonces estudiantes que han estado en mi lugar. Por ejemplo, a mí me pasó durante verano de que supe que quedé en álgebra 2, pero yo pensaba que a lo mejor iba a estar muy difícil y que a lo mejor me iba a dificultar las matemáticas en los siguientes años. Entonces, por eso me estaba preguntando mucho y se me hizo muy difícil decidir si bajarme a álgebra 1 o irme a álgebra 2. Entonces, en eso pues hablé con Balu, y él, que estuvo en mi lugar y le tocó tomar álgebra 2, me explicó que la clase sí no está afuera de matemáticas, lo iba a poder hacer, y que sí me sugirió que era muy bueno que lo tomara. Y honestamente estoy muy feliz que le pregunté, porque se me hace que siento que fue la mejor decisión que pudiera haber hecho en este caso. Entonces siento que sí es muy importante hablar con nuestros compañeros y pues con todos en general los que han estado en este lugar. Hasta recuerdo que pregunté a mucha gente que hasta ya se graduó hace 20 años de la high school y también tenían algo que decir sobre el tema.
Así es. Es importante también en muchas ocasiones tomar en cuenta los apoyos de la tecnología, ¿no? ¿Qué piensan ustedes acerca de la inteligencia artificial aplicada ya? ¿A ustedes cómo la han utilizado para estudiar, para mejorar sus clases? ¿Qué piensan?
It's also very important to take technology into account. So with AI coming in and all these different resources that we're having now, how do you use artificial intelligence with your studies?
So I have a lot of thoughts about this topic specifically. It's actually a topic that I really enjoy discussing, and it just so happens I just read a book about this. So to me, AI, it's like when Google came out. People thought it wasn't good to use, or I don't know, I wasn't there, but from what I've heard, many people believe that no, it's gonna make us dumb. It might take away from human intelligence. And it's basically something similar that's happening with AI. And while I do believe there are a lot of negative consequences that come with the use of AI, I believe a lot of positive ones can help take our learning to the next level. I believe that AI shouldn't be used just to get answers straight out, but let's say like a specific scenario. Let's say that you're at home and you have to finish an assignment and you can't contact your teacher. Well, in that case, I think one of the best solutions would be either go to Google or go to YouTube and find a video that can help you understand the topic. But with AI, I think that it's best to put in the question to AI, and while it's going to give you the answer, also make sure to see how you got that answer. And AI can be the best teacher because it can show you how step by step and personalize it as well. And the other important thing is not just to think about ChatGPT or Copilot. There's a lot more than just those two, or even Gemini. There's so much more that comes with it. There's a lot of new apps right now that have a specific use for AI. For example, there's one, I don't remember the name right now, but what you do is that you put in either a video or a summary of a lesson, it brings it in and it makes flashcards automatically for you and helps you study automatically. I believe that one's a really good one. There's another one that uses AI. You put in your summary of the lesson and it makes a podcast for you. It makes it kind of dramatic and kind of funny, I guess you could say, and it basically makes it into your own podcast that you are addicted to, I guess you could say, and in some sense that can boost learning so much. So I think there's positive negatives.
Thank you.
So the way I use AI is similar to what Sophia said, but I also use it in the way to plan out my week. So during the weekend, I would plan out what assignments I have and what projects I have coming up, and how to get help from those, and different websites that I can visit to research more about that topic. And yes, I had a similar situation where I was at home and I didn't really have any access to contact my teacher, and I did use AI, and the explanations are very detailed and very thorough, and where AI got its information is also very genuine. And Mr. Medina, my AP English teacher, also lets us use AI on this assignment that we were doing, where it helps us use AI in a proper way and how to use AI and prepare for the real world, as no one will stop you from using AI in the future as the school does. So he helps us understand why AI is important and how to not misuse AI.
Pues les agradezco mucho en grande todo el apoyo que nos dan para informar a los estudiantes de octavo grado que van a venir a nuestra escuela como Freshmen, nuevos apaches. Les agradezco mucho las opiniones, esto de inteligencia artificial, qué bueno que la han estado utilizando y de buena manera, y sobre todo pues para profundizar en su aprendizaje, que es lo más valioso, no solo estar tratando de tomar las respuestas, traspasarlas al trabajo que se va a entregar y entregarlo sin reflexionar al respecto, ¿no? Felicidades por ello, no sé, maestra.
Thank you very much for being here today and for helping us help the 8th graders as they transition to high school and become the new Nogales High School Apaches, and also about telling us what your thoughts are on AI and the importance of it, and being able to utilize it for something that's going to be good for you. Because you're right, like Google wasn't many years ago, it's going to be the same thing. Just like you said. Thank you both. Thank you to the three of you.
Muchas gracias. Entonces, con eso finalizamos. Muy amable, Sofía Jimeno. Te agradecemos mucho. A Gabriel Salcedo. Salud, Suma. Thank you for everything. Y Miss Fragoso, le agradecemos mucho el apoyo que siempre nos da para estos podcasts. Y sobre todo, pues, a continuar con todo este trabajo.
Sí, muchas gracias a ustedes, Mr. Gómez, por todo el trabajo que hace y por ayudarnos con este podcast.